I'm super excited to vibe with you, right? And I love to see all the comments on that your AI outcomes were poop. So I hope I can change that in the upcoming minutes and help you to generate better outcome with your prompts. Uh, but first of all, as I said, my name is Laura. I'm a designer advocate at Figma. And today, I want to start from the very basics. So for whoever doesn't know how to prompt write, I hope I can help you there. I will show you how to make things with Figma Make. So how to prepare your files to have a good outcome, how to use your design system with Figma Make, and then also how to use your design systems or your designs with the Figma MCP and how to do that from a designer perspective. So with not using Death Note, but with like using cursor. And then I want to end with some closing thoughts to hopefully, leave you with some nice ideas for the future. But yeah, let's start with like some prompt best practice. Like I needed to say this word several times to get it right. Very rolls over my tongue. But yeah, if I think about like good prompting, I like to refer to like the three big C's, which is clarity, context, and constraints, which means it is very important when it comes to clarity of your language to very focus on what you write and how you write it to get a high quality outcome. So don't get too fluffy, work with bullet points if you want, and be like very precise to like give the AI the right things to work with. Then the context, which is very important if you want to do something like this is like brand specific, user specific, any informations that the AI can use to like anchor and like create meaningful design. And then last but not least, constraints, which we in design system all love a lot. So include the platform, like do you want to let the AI design something for iOS or Android? Any interactive pattern that are really important to your UI, your style, your product, and also any kind of like boundaries you maybe have, like do you want to ensure the right contrast, like ensure the AYY standards that like just come into place now to have like the scoped and refined outcome. If this kind of like is still very fluffy for you, I will go step by step with you now through what is a bad prompt and how you can build a good one. So let's start with a bad prompt. So we wrote here like make a sign up screen. We don't have any context. It's not really clear what you want. So let's jump into Figma Make and see what's happened when we use this prompt. I already copied the prompt in here. Let's just like let the AI generate like what will maybe happen. And I hope this will be fast because it's such a short and simple prompt. But yeah, it's kind of like making up everything on its own, right? I didn't like give any context, like what is the sign up screen? Is it web? Is it mobile? Should it use like any styles? And so on and so forth. So it's basically just doing everything on its own. So let's see what will come out and let's hope it will be fast enough. But here you then see the coding window, right? You have the components, and maybe this is interesting for you to know, and we will dive into that later on. Everything Figma Make is building is based on Radix. I put the link into the Miro board, and Radix is built on ChatCN, which later on will come very in handy when we want to build with ChatCN. So now you can see, right, I've generated like a form. The nice thing is like everything is working, as we can see here, and we know how painful it can be to build an input field prototype. So this is already super nice when we don't have any context, right? This sign up flow could be for basically everything. So, and we don't want that, right? We want to be precise. We want the AI to generate something for our product. So let's jump back and see how a good prompt could look. So to adding a little bit more context, I said I want a sign up form with email, password, a Google sign in, and I wanted to use the material 3 styling. So let's go to the next prompt and let the prompt run. As you see now, we already like made it a little bit more specific. We said what we want in those form, that there should be like a Google sign in, and we also set which styling it should use. Here now still it will like be based on Radix, but later on I will show you how to actually use Material 3 or maybe any other kind of big design system. I think I went with Carbon instead of Material Design because yeah, when I worked in design systems, I think Carbon design system was one of the most referenced design systems I used when it came to documentation because they're just doing such a nice job. So let's see. So we have the Google sign in button. It kind of like uses theming. It uses the Google input field. So you see, you give a little bit more context and it already gets like way more refined, looks way more brandy and actually like way more natural and like it would be an actual product. So that would be the next step and good prompting. So let's summarize like what you all need to like write a good prompt. So I took like an example of a workout app because I love to work out. And like I will show you now the different things that you should bring in a prompt to make it a good prompt. So using a design language, so maybe referring to your design system, an open source design system, or whatever you like to refer to. You could also just say Nike, for example, for whom the app is. So is it for women? Is it like for everyone? Is it like for young, old people? And so on and so forth. What feature the app should have, what brand do I want to reference, and also which platform. As this is like a little bit of a bigger prompt, as you will see here. So I wrote like a fitness app, modern user, it should be like training club. So I added like all the context into the prompt. And this I already prepared because here the DDI takes a little bit longer and I didn't want you to wait for so long. But here you can see the prompt I also had in the prompt box before. And it created me this app. It has a neutral color palette, which I picked for. I can start a workout. I can go back. I have a user profile. So you see, like the more you refine, the better your outcome gets, right? So here, like here, having a clear language, giving context and also giving constraints, like I had here that I wanted to have it like in a mobile screen, and it's for iOS. So it took all those constraints and built this prompt. And for me, like without like doing any kind of design, I'm super happy with what came out of like just a more refined prompt. So I hope that could help everyone to understand kind of like how to build a good prompt. So now, as next, let's like dive into Figma Make, how you set up your files in the best way and what you actually can connect. So I think this is something all design system people will love, good file hygiene, right? We love named layers, we love auto layout and like less grouping. So when it comes to Figma Make, you can just like copy paste the designs you have in Figma into Figma Make. And the more structured your file is, the better you name the certain layers, the better your outcome will be. Because again, with the right layer naming and the right auto layout and naming the auto layout, you will give the AI more context and more clarity on what to pick where and when to animate those things, but I will show you later on in a demo. Same as that, it's not just like a one prompt thing, right? So if you prompt something in Figma Make, you still afterwards have the chance to adjust your designs. You can, with the point and edit tool, just like select certain things, like for example, the cards on the top here and say, please replace this with a different component. Please change the text style, and so on and so forth. And you also can jump into the code window with like, I would say any like nearly no coding skills and can adjust certain things on the code layers. And then composing prompts. This is a super long prompt. I would in general like advise to work with like prompt scoping. So you don't need to achieve everything with just one prompt. Start with, I want an app. It should look like that. Maybe you copy paste and attach design. But if you want to go deeper, maybe like as you saw in the workout app, let me quickly go back, have like a menu, also have like a workout. Then I would like say, go with the first frame and then add more designs into the prompt. So you can like just copy paste several designs, several screens that you want to connect to your prototype or your handover for whatever you're building with Figma Make to just, yeah, don't overwhelm the AI, because I think that's very important, because AI is not at the state where it can consume too much information at one point. If you do that, it often like kind of like diverges and like does things on its own. Then use real data. Figma Make and also like the MCP server have the opportunity to integrate real data, like and like actually connect to any kind of like data point. So you can use your camera, you can use your voice interface, or for example, I lately jammed on like a new version of the B4G app, which is the local train provider in Berlin, and I could just like plug in the data they have available on their app and on their website when it comes to when the trains are running. So you can easily fetch this in and imagine you building the prototype for something new you want to develop in your product, and you want to like just pull in some real data without like maybe needing the resources of content. This is like amazing. So now I talked a lot. So let's go into Figma Make and actually make something. And what I did, as someone asked, everything I built today is built with ChatCN. And I use this page here, which is a music player. And I first want to talk about the like structuring of the file. So in the first go, you think, oh, this is actually structured amazing, right? There are no empty groups. Everything is like named by its component name. It's even there are like divs inside, so it's kind of like try to be like in code. But if you go to any kind of AI, not just like Figma Make, and you want to like have some precise changes, like for example, change the titles, change the images. If everything is called div, the AI doesn't know which div to change, right? So what I did, and it's I think super nice that you don't need to have like any kind of like crazy naming taxonomy to do this right. As you can see here, I just named the cards like music cards 1 to 4, and the button here in the top I named add music button. So like there's like no kind of like magic behind it. It just needs to be clear enough to work together with the AI. And you can see here, like I did some prompting because I had quite some fun with it. But what I did is I actually say like make this page interactive, like when tapping, change the images. So that's what it's doing. I also want that it's like using the add music button. And I even said, hey, please refer to the most listened songs on Spotify. So it even like pulled music I would never listen to, but those the music people are listening to, like Taylor Swift. And I pulled it from Spotify and added it into the prototype. And you can see you can switch here. And I think this like already brings you like way further. And if you want, you can again with the edit tool like change everything on this page and refine it, replace components. So it's like very flexible. So now we looked a little bit into what you can make with Figma Make, but I know this is a design system meetup. So obviously I want to talk about how to use your design system with Figma Make. And first of all, I want to like kind of like open the stage a little bit on like what Figma Make is really good for and what it's not, because I think we, no matter on which AI tool, need to be very honest with what is actually the current state and kind of like not try to see all the, I don't know, bling bling magic that's going around AI. So at the moment, we at Figma refer to what you can do in Figma Make is theming. So you can bring in stylistic context. So your foundations like color, typography, everything you have in your foundation spacing. But as we work with ChatCN/Radix as a base, it will pull in your styles, but it will also create another source of truth, right? So it will have your styles, but it will also pull in any kind of open source design system you will work with. And on top, if you give your theming some library updates, those won't be synced. So you would need to update your prototype. We're working hard on improving that. But at the moment, this is what is possible. It works best with open source design systems. So even if by default we use Radix, you can also say, please use material design, Carbon. If your design system is open source, you could even prompt in your design system. So I think that's super nice. And I think what all those AI tools and especially Figma Make is great for is breaking silos. So Figma Make and any kind of other design tool, the AI tools are a great resource to improve handovers and facilitate better conversation. Because I think breaking silos is one of the biggest problems we are fighting with in companies. We are very scattered, so tools like Figma Make are great to like break those silos and like let design be owned by everyone. But let's jump into some making things with your design system. So if you work with your design system, and we pretending now that ChatCN is our design system, same as when you publish your normal design system, you go to publish library. And since we released Figma Make and it's open to everyone, you have this little drawer here on which you can click export to Figma Make. This dialog will pop up and it will render. This will fail now because I already exported ChatCN into my Figma Make. So I will stop this now. Let me think about which component I always hated the most to build when I worked in design systems. I would say tables. So I picked this table here, and I'm sure we all know there are so many states we need to think about, so many edge cases, so many pain points. If you try to nail a table in one go, this will never work. Even though in like large scale design system teams, and you have a good connections with your engineers, you still sometimes misunderstand. You don't align the right way, and there's a lot of back and forth. And I think Figma Make can help here tremendously to maybe already like eliminate some of those frictions. So I copy pasted this design into my Figma Make. You can see it here. That's the design I copied. And then I prompted that please should like build this data table for me using ChatCN UI. And it should use kind of like all the interactions that I need. And as you saw, this is the design that I copied from Figma. This is the table. It looks exactly the same. And the nice thing is everything is working. I can like even filter. And I think this is already like super amazing to go to your engineers and be like, even the sorting is working. And I can go to my engines, be like, okay, this is how I imagined the component. You can like even look into the code. It's kind of like already using our foundations, and probably a lot of design systems are built on open source libraries. So you could prompt this open source library into Figma Make and try to make Figma Make use your open source React library, for example. And when we go into code, you can see here are all our styles. You can see it's following all the things I have set in Figma. We have all our components here, and you can see, they're like all coming from Radix, so they're based on ChatCN. But again, you don't need to just have everything based on ChatCN. And I have some more examples here. So I, for example, took the Carbon design. I again published it and exported it to Make. And for the first try, I went with, hey, just create me a sign up page. As you see, I have a big heart for sign up pages. They're popping up everywhere. And you can see it's completely using the Carbon design system. All the states are working. All the other things that you would see when you go on the documentation. It has focus states. So if you're working with an open source design system like this, you can like push this very further. And if this is like still not enough, you have to change to the chance to edit your styles. And it already brings you here. So then you can in the styles adjust some things. Maybe it got anything right. So you can override that. And the kind of like next thing would be to even add your own guidelines. So in the coding panel, you have the chance to like add everything you don't want the AI to do, or you want the AI to do based on your design system. So you can put that in here and even like fine tune it a little bit more. But what maybe is like interesting for us as design system designers is that you could even do like an interactive component handover. So I took the content switcher and I built a playground that kind of like shows all the different states. So my engineers could like try it out and see how this should actually behave. It gives me an overview of the icons I'm using and also some of the enhanced features. This is like made up by the UI, by the AI, but as you can see, right, you couldn't get very, very far with some like very simple prompts and like using some of your design systems, or if you work with open source design systems, use them. Great. So now we know how to use our design systems or our styles with Figma Make. So as next, let's look into design systems and MCP. And again, same as I started with, if you never prompted before, I also wanted to start the same way with design systems and the Figma MCP. So I imagined I never ever read any code. And I want to show you how to set this up with like no coding experience. So first, let's set the stage a little bit. So as we already like said earlier on, your AI output gets the better, the more refined you are. So if you just prompt with a screenshot, it will maybe rebuild you what you have on the screenshot, but there will be a lot of unknowns. If you start naming your layers, the AI will be like, oh, okay, I have like a little bit more context. Then if you bring like tokens or variables, however you want to name them, into the game, the AI is, oh, now I like understand all the stylistic context. And then on top of that, you could also use annotations. Annotations are very helpful for the AI. So if you annotate your file with a lot of input, the AI can also take those annotations. And then kind of like the end boss is using Code Connect, because obviously if you pulled your components into Figma with Code Connect connected to your code base, AI can then even take them. But we won't go that further today because we never coded anything before. Some good to knows before we jump in. And I think Mr. Biscuit will touch on that as well later on. It's really important, again, to be honest with the AI. So the Figma MCP is a good start, but the quality, the interoperability really depends on a lot of factors like your coding standards, your frameworks, right? It can maybe lift the first 50%, and it's great when your engineers just need to adjust some code. But again, a lot of companies have like 5, 10, or even more years of legacy code, and you can't just copy paste some code that is generated by AI into this humongous monolith of legacy code. So sure, if you start up and you start from scratch, this can maybe help, but I think this is just like the tip of the iceberg, the startups, but the rest of the iceberg is way bigger. So I think it's important to be like cautious and like don't get like too crazy with the hype around AI. We will get there, but it will take time. Models to use. So there's like Claude Sonnet 4, which is great for good and fast iteration, and it's very great on the first try. So if you're very new to like this like code gen, working with AI, I would recommend going with that. Or there's the ChatGPT O3, which is very good for like heavy thinking. And it can really help you if you have a super complex task to maybe generate a plan upfront. And then like, yeah, help you with all the heavy lifting. And then last but not least, as we today will work with Cursor, you always have the chance to set rules, same as I showed you in Figma Make. you can do the same in Cursor and like maybe avoid, as Sil just said at the beginning, replacing things with tailwind gradients. You can set those rules and like give it a little bit more guardrails to just like fine tune how you work with Cursor. Okay, so again, enough talking of me. Let's go into the Figma MCP. So we stay with Schätzchen, and I have some nice pages here. We've already been here for the music page, and I think I want to build the mail page. There are a lot of tabs, emails, so there's also a lot of data, and so on and so forth. And I just took this page and let me jump to Cursor. Or maybe, first of all, for like everyone who haven't set up the Figma MCP, you just click on this nice Figma logo and go into preferences. And there is like one item on the menu, which is called Enable Dev Mode MCP Server. And you can click on that. And that's basically everything you need to do on Figma side. And then now let's jump to Cursor. Share and Cursor. Just learned this today that I can actually switch my tabs while being in the sharing mode. Perfect. So let me go back in my prompts, and I said to Cursor that I want to build this mail page that I have selected in Figma. And you can see I need to move my windows a little bit. There we go. So I really just like used a very simple prompt and told Cursor to also use the Schätzchen UI. And you can see then here, right, it like called the code that I want to use. And then it also called the image. So what I have selected in Figma, and this is very important, whatever you want to use with the Figma MCP and you want to build, it needs to be selected in Figma. So if you like select something and then jump somewhere else in Figma while you're working, it can be that something is breaking while like, Cursor is like reasoning and working. So always stay on this one selected frame till you're done. Then you obviously for sure can like switch. Yeah, and you can see I selected the frame. And what is very amazing in Cursor, and I tried something out for the Hamburg meetup we had some weeks ago. Like I really pretended like I never ever again like read code, and like Cursor can really set you up everything. It helps you to set up Homebrew, which you need to facilitate things on your server or your local host, and it really goes with you through all the steps. And even if you don't understand those things, it's very friendly and very helpful and helps to get through all those things without like no coding language at all. And you can see it sets up all the things for me. As you can see here, my component tab is using the Schätzchen. I also like decided for a theme I want to use. And it's really like setting up all the things for me. You can even set it on like auto, so you don't even need to like review the code. And you can see it works for all the things. And it set me up even like a local host, because I said, oh, I don't know how to set up a local host. Please set me up a local host in my browser. And yeah, it generated and went through all those things. And let me show what came out of that. And let me switch again. And here's my Google Chrome. There we go. So this was my first try. And I think it's already like very good. So you can click on all the things. It has states. You can switch in between the tabs. But I still feel like, the dot is not changing. Normally, if you have like an unread email and you click on it, the dot goes away. So I went back into Cursor and told Cursor to here fix some bugs, because I had some bugs. So many prompts. Yeah, and here I said it should add me some more interactions. Like I want to have the blue dot to disappear, like in all the kind of little details. I wanted to change to like really create like a realistic experience. and it on his own created me another local host because it didn't want to override my first draft, which I really love because yeah, often with AI it just overrides what you already had, so you can't really, you need to go versions back. So it already gave me the option to like create another local host, and this was the second version. And here you can see if I click on the email with the dot, it's disappearing. I have like draft and different emails, so it already feels like very realistic. I have a menu here, and I really love that, right? Like I have no coding skills at all. I just created a design in Figma, and I know which like library I want to use, which was Schätzchen, and it built the whole thing for me without don't knowing anything, and just a little bit of like fine tuning what I want to change in the design. And I think this is like super powerful, and again, like can like facilitate like great conversations in between the different disciplines. Okay. Now I need to go back to my Figma. There we go. Perfect. So we kind of like found out a little bit how to use Figma Make, how to prompt, how to use the Figma MCP server without ever touching code. So whoop, I would like to end with some like closing thoughts and zoom a little bit out, not just like focus on design systems or engineering, but like on kind of like the current state of the industry and the super exciting kind of like tipping point we are at the moment. So like let's kind of like sit down and like reflect together. So I think we kind of like entering a next phase of what is design, and that it will not be about designing screens anymore, but actually kind of like about designing the vibe. And I love the word vibe because it's like so disconnected from all the pressure we have from like delivering features. And I think what is the great thing about like vibes and like love is that like love is what like sets like products apart from each other, and that it's not just about that like things are working and like how they look, but really like entering an era where it's again about how products actually feel. And I think this is like super exciting. Like I think we have like a long phase behind us where it was all about kind of like just building. And I think now we set a great foundations with like making design systems a cornerstone of what we build. And now we have actually, yeah, more time for vibe and love. Um, I think like as I already said, like AI and like what is currently happening in the industry is like really blurring the lines in between roles, and this is I think the best nurturing ground for like design. So design is like way more than a role. It's like culture, and to like really leverage design in like an organization, it needs to be owned by everyone, and that is what AI is making possible now. Like a PM, an engineer, I don't know, whoever, like a QA, they all can like use AI to bring their ideas to life and to the table. And I think, yeah, this is just amazing. Like we will be way more free to like create great things instead of like explaining and like negotiating. So I think this is like, yeah, just I'm like truly amazed on where we are at the moment. Um, and then yeah, design is here to like shift a mindset. And like we yesterday had like a comment in like one of the into design system threads where someone said, "Oh, AI is like so shiny, and but like we have all this like security requirements, so a lot of companies actually can't use AI." I think you don't like need to use AI fully. Your AI needs to like replace your work and like all the kind of like hush hush that is around AI. I think it's more for like setting the stage for what to come next. So it helps. I think it's just good to learn, and then at one point we will see where it will lead us. Yeah, and then to like zoom a little bit out on that, right? Like till now, like product design and also and design systems, we always been just kind of like one part of the whole process. But now with like AI, we can like really be everywhere. Like we can shape operations, we can shape product strategy, we can help sales, marketing, right? Like it's really like expanding and like breaking the boundaries we maybe been kind of like kept in for the last years. So I think we're in exciting times, but nevertheless, be patient with yourself. It's all new, and like AI and prompting is a skill you need to learn, same as we started to learn about design systems many years ago. And luckily we have into design systems to help you even more with that. So like be patient and be curious to learn those new skills, learn prompting. And if you want to read more about how to build a design-driven culture, I will leave the deck later in the Miro board so you can scan the QR code. You don't need to do it now. Super interesting read. And thank you for listening.
Wow, amazing. Thank you so much, Laura. I've learned so much, and there are so many questions on the Miro board. Should we have a look at the Miro board and Rissa to ask some questions before Laura needs to leave, or do you need to run or jump?
No, I still have some time. I was just like, I talked so long now. I want to give like room to Mr. Biscuit. I said I need to leave like at 8, but after my meeting at 8:30, I will return to the Miro board and answer all your questions.
Nice.
So yeah, I'm fine with everything. Fine with
Right.
answering now.
We can do one quick question before you leave. Thank you so much. That was great. I think you've never came across Figma Make before. I think it was very, very clear, and also how to connect to the MCP and not make it scary because it's code. Cool. You showed us there you connecting like one library into Figma Make, and so there is a question here: is if it's possible to connect to use more than one library. So are you able to connect multiple libraries at once?
So am I not muted? So at the moment you can just use one. So if you like select one design system, you need to stick to it. But we heard this question loud and clear from the community already, even if it's still so fresh with the theming, that they would love to use more libraries, because we know people have like maybe a B2B, a B2C library, like different themes in different files. So we have that on our plate, definitely.
Cool. There's another quick one here. I think it will be quick. Can you bring designs back from Figma Make into Figma Design?
We're working on that. It's also one thing we heard loud and clear, and it is on the very soon roadmap to work on the interoperability. So bringing things from Make into Figma and from Figma back into Make. Cool. I hope I'm not saying too much here.
Watch the space. Thank you so much, Laura. If you have time later, I can't even count how many questions
I will answer all of them. I will take the time later, definitely.
Thank you so much, Laura. Maybe one last question. The design system community felt a little bit abandoned recently by Figma. We haven't seen a lot at config. Okay, nothing. So is there anything like coming, any new features coming this year, next year, or anything you can tell us about to excite us for what's coming?
I'm trying to frame it in a way that I don't say too much. I already said it like in Hamburg, I think, or also in Berlin at the meetup. So everything we kind of like do now for the rest of the year is design system. Because we heard it so loud from the community that like you want all those design system things, and that they're the base for all we build. If you were at config, you heard like Yuki speaking about that. To make all those things possible, we really needed to work on like quality and performance. So that was the first kind of like cornerstone. There are like a lot of things to come, even this month until the rest of the years. We basically bombarding you with design system stuff.
Wow.
We'll be calling you.
Yeah, probably more
Laura.
to hear in Stockholm with Spotify.
Nice. Thank you so much, Laura. That sounds really exciting. Good luck with your next meeting, and see you back at Spotify, the latest.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Please give Laura a big round of applause in the chat. Come on. Thanks, Laura.